Alright guys, alright. I'm a bit tired, haven't slept much in the past couple of weeks. Been busy. Alright, let's jump into it. Let's watch Inside Star Citizen, which is really early this morning for some reason. And let's watch, talk about Morville Lorville. I'm looking forward to seeing this.
In 2865, Hurston Dynamics purchased a planet in the Stanton system and began the process of looking for their capital, being careful not to build
I see your helmets.
on the resource-intense areas they bought the planet for in the first place. Because you gotta leave all that free for the mining, after all. Now, during that search, they designated one particular area already filled with structures that house the on-world workers by the three-letter designation LOR, an acronym for the rather dismissive title, Local Occupational Residency. And after essentially requiring all of their workers to live there, because it makes it easier to keep an eye on everyone, the town eventually gathered an unofficial temporary nickname. And as anyone that's ever built something huge and complex can tell you, there are few things in life more permanent than an unofficial temporary nickname. Now, eventually, the Hurston family made this the center of all commerce and residence on the planet. And thus, Lorville continued to grow and expand and be built upon. And in the upcoming Alpha 319, it's taking its next major step forward towards becoming the thriving, brutalist cityscape old Solomon Hurston would be proud of.
I always thought Lorville was Lore, not just LOR. Is that... Hang on, I need to Google this, guys. Is it? Hang on a sec. So, after a quick Google search, it is actually LOR. VILLE. Okay. I thought there was an extra E in there for some reason. Cool. Never mind, let's get going.
Well, how would I describe Lorville to somebody who's never seen it?
Lots of crazy stuff happened there. I don't know, man. It's very dusty. Definitely very dusty. Yeah.
I think it would be something that's a place that's very polluted. It would be a place that's very oppressive, but also pretty lively at the same time. People are working there day and night.
Lorville is essentially a mega city. It's sprawling, it's huge. And it's on a Stanton 1 planet inside the Stanton system.
The story of Lorville, I know that it was built by a company, a family business.
It's ruled by the Hurston family. And it's a very authoritarian regime.
Place that's very expensive in the scale of it.
Reminds you a little bit of 1984, that kind of stuff maybe. Also a little bit of a Tyrell Corporation from Blade Runner, something like that.
It does have that.
Comes to my mind when
It does have that sort of Blade Runner vibe a little bit, doesn't it? Looks beautiful. Okay, let me rephrase. They've done a fantastic job making it look authoritarian and everything like that.
think of Lorville, yeah.
So a landing zone like Lorville is a hub for the players. It has many services. There's the habs, the habitations, and from there, they can spawn. There's the hospitals. There's shops. There's missions.
That's new.
There's obviously multiple areas and some new areas as well.
When you're arriving from your ship, the first thing you're going to see is, you're going to see the CBD, of course.
Central Business District. And this is where the Hurston family oversees the city.
There's the spaceport that obviously has a lot of the transit line going to. You can also go to the L19 where there's obviously some residential.
Leading up from the center, we have those transit lines that are going in different directions from the center of the city. And from there, there's many districts inside the inner city. In the inner city, we represent the different classes of the residents of Lorville. There's areas where there's more wealth. These are like higher up top, and they have like a gold cladding on their buildings. And we have like lower areas that are like closer to the industrial areas. And it's mainly residential and commercial. We have like lots of opportunities for branding. The branding comes mainly from Nicolas Fortin's team. So we partnered with them, and they come up.
I just want to say the branding is on point. Like, I am really impressed with what they've done with Lorville. Lorville, for the guys who don't know, Lorville is the actual part, well, takes part in the machinima. Which is why I was talking about doing all the filmings. And now I have to redo them all. Thanks. But I was going to say, yeah, but we actually have like 2 or 3 episodes in the first season that are actually based in Lorville. So yeah, it's looking fantastic, and I'm really, really hoping to start reshooting again soon, because we got to redo it all because it's all changed.
Like with new brands, in turn, the environment art team helped to integrate those into billboards and holograms throughout the city. So the areas like the CBD, the L19 at the spaceport, you're all familiar with. These haven't changed. They just moved slightly because they were already up to a quality that still works today. And what we've worked on is the connecting tissue between those to make like the city feel actually the big size compared to what it was.
Buildings are now much higher, but you're also going to see how the city now extends further away, a little bit like tentacles, right? And it spreads out into those smaller islands. We call them islands. Those are the industrial islands. Let's say you start from the spaceport and you want to travel outside towards the industrial islands. First of all, they're much further away, but they're still connected. You know, they connected using pipelines from the city to the outskirts. And once you get to the industrial islands, you can see, you know, it's filled with chimneys, lots of activities happening there. It really shows, you know, the might that is Hurston Dynamics and the Hurston family itself. Yeah, I think that's a good answer.
They've done an amazing job with it. Looks fantastic.
So making Lorville was not like a straight line. There was many like challenges, and we didn't really have expectations of what we could achieve or not achieve. We just went with our feelings, what kind of city we wanted to build, basically.
You know, we tried to create a certain variety of colors inside the city, but overall it remains pretty gray. But at the same time, it's also pretty dusty. You know, it reflects the pollution, how industrial the city is.
And in the end, like, we're just like driving that point that it's like heavily polluted or authoritarian, and that it's in everything we do.
Lighting is very important when you're coming to a location. Where one of the last part that the artist will do, it really brings the life to all the previous work that the environment artist did.
Lighting drives the eye. It makes us look at places, and it just like enhances the contrasts, and we get like a whole better look through that lighting.
The lighting really, it brings in the whole atmosphere. And during the night, we want to bring that feeling of liveliness to the city.
Yeah, night is pretty badass with all the new buildings, the taller buildings, the windows and everything. Little red lights, blinking red lights across the city. As a player, when you come in and you see these giant structures, but also these little lights, it really shows, you know, okay, this is a really big building. Try to put a lot of small details, small elements like street lights, containers, also a little bit of some pathways for vehicles to move around. That really helps to solidify the idea that, you know, this is a giant city, giant facilities that are being built inside the city. And yeah, it's huge.
There's a lot of different viewpoints right now, So you'll be able to appreciate it from a lot of different distances and viewpoints, even if you're far away.
Still a very bustling city, lots of activities happening. You can also see people taking the train, the transit to move around the city to, get from their habs to their workplace.
The lighting on the transit line has been really, really improved. You'll have a lot more to see when you're going through these different lines. And I think it's going to be very exciting.
It's not just the lights in the city, but also in the industrial islands. Even though they're a bit further away, they have these giant, I call them cauldrons. It's like burning some sort of material. It's very orangey. It glows a lot. I think you can actually see them from outer space. Lighting at night with those cauldrons. It's really amazing looking.
The atmosphere is really important as well. It gives like the depth that we need inside the city. It makes things like feel believable, and like it adds this layer of realism.
Lorville during the day is very, very polluted, obviously. So when you get into the city, there are very thick layer of clouds. And when you get through these clouds, it's like getting into a new world, in a different world. They cover the top of the building. It's very impressive. They just bring so much to the atmosphere. They really, really kind of put that finish on the daylighting.
Sunlight doesn't actually always touch the ground. Everything's a little bit in the shade because of the smoke, the smog, the atmosphere. It's so thick, you can't really see into the horizon. How many buildings is there? It's pretty claustrophobic, even though it's a giant city. But if you look really far away, you can't really see where it ends because of the atmosphere.
Chris did a great job on the day atmosphere, and it looks very, very unhealthy, I would say, to be there in that atmosphere for very long.
VFX, they did a great job with especially the chimneys, the amounts of smoke that the industrial zones are creating. It really emphasizes the pollution aspect to how they do business in Hurston. Lighting definitely with the new atmosphere looks really much different, and it really showcases the ominous feeling of the city.
The whole composition of the city works through with lighting just hand in hand. Without lighting, like everything looks a bit flat.
And so it's very important in that process to bring kind of the final look, to bring it alive from what the concept art originally kind of said about the location.
The biggest change from the old Lorville to the new is the scale of those buildings, and they feel much more integrated, lifelike as a city. And that was one of the reasons at the beginning why we wanted to change Lorville, was to get like that proper scale throughout the city, and that feeling that basically can make you feel like it's a real city. Making the buildings at the correct scale can enable us later to create interiors for those buildings. And so in that sense, Lorville will be ready for that. Getting close to the city, like especially while flying, like the feeling is just so great. We've lowered the restricted zone as much as we can, and we can really get close to the buildings now. The size of those windows are like true to real life size of windows. The scale of things feels like really good.
Level design definitely also plays a role inside the city. We try to make sure that players, if they want to fly their ship around buildings or into some of these areas that we call trenches, level design reminded us to keep some openings so that players can move around them easily. On our side, we also made sure that you can navigate in some of those structures, those trenches. You can do slaloms around those pipelines, and maybe some of those areas could become potential racetracks for the future.
Lorville will have like racing opportunities, I think, because now there's like tunnels, there's cranes, there's sky bridges, there's like big straddle frames, and these can create target points for racing. For me, the greatest thing was seeing the team come together and pitch ideas and deliver on those challenges and those ideas.
It's been a lot of work from every department, and especially in lighting, I think it's been a big project that we've worked on. And there's so much details that's been put on every one of these areas, and I think I'll be really excited to see how people react to this. I think it's something that people have been expecting for a long time.
I think for the player, the fact that we can go around these areas, whether it's land vehicles or, we're using spaceships, fly around these structures, I think it's going to be a good experience, yeah.
I hope the players appreciate the new Lorville, just the sheer scale, and that it feels like you could see Lorville from Everest Station, so it makes it like a big impact, I think. And I hope that the players notice.
So, what did we learn this?
I just want to say, they've knocked it out of the park. They really, really have. So, the one thing I would say, like if you're looking at this sort of stuff here, from what I've heard from the Evocati, is that these buildings are freaking huge. You don't notice them because there's no sort of scale comparison when it comes to sort of like looking at them now compared to like ships and stuff. But someone was saying that they were flying like a 400i or an 890 or something in one of these buildings, and these buildings just dwarfed it. It was a 400i. But yeah, basically all these buildings here that you see, they will have like interiors already like sort of planned. Not necessarily in there, but planned. So like, they would say like, like, hey, we want a building with say 6 offices or six rooms and one per level, and yeah, they would have done it all scaled out and planned it all out and stuff like that. So I think even when we get ourselves down there, it's going to be even more impressive. But like I say, it looks fantastic. It looks absolutely amazing. I love the lighting. I love it at night. Obviously, the reasons we're going to do the reshoots is just because it looks so much better. I don't know if I suppose ArtCorp, they might need to go back and redo. But obviously with like Orison and New Babbage, sorry, probably not. I presume those buildings were done to scale when they built the landing zones. But, Hurstone was Lorville was one of the first ones that came in, which is why it wasn't done to scale. But yeah, guys, it looks absolutely fantastic. And even like when it's at like during the day with like all the smog and stuff like that. It looks fantastic. I love the golden statues and stuff. Sort of like finishes it off with that whole authoritarian look and stuff. But no, it looks fantastic. Yeah. Guys at CIG, you've done a fantastic job. Absolutely amazing job. You should be proud.
Meet commerce, residents, and a foundation for future gameplay opportunities like racing, mission interiors, and more, and that this newest evolution of Lorville is scheduled to make its way to you in next month's Alpha 319.
No shave to 319.
319.
No shave to 319. No shave to 319. I don't know if Jared will do that. 319.
For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for exploring the process of game development with us, and we'll see you all here next week.
They didn't mention Inside Star Citizen Live. That's what I was waiting for. The whole no shave to 319 was because when 3.0 came out, Jared said before it came out that he wasn't going to shave until it dropped. And it was delayed and delayed and delayed. And I don't think he ended up shaving for like 6 or 12 or 18 months. Something ridiculous. It looked like a mammoth. But anyway, but yeah, as for they did also say next month's 319. So I'm presuming they're trying to go live for I would say probably late May. I would say this is going to be the patch for Fleet Week. So I would expect it probably to be in PTU probably for another 3 weeks or so. So I would say it's probably got another week in Evocati, and then we've probably got 2 weeks of it being in live. So, but guys, yeah, as for Lorville, looks absolutely fantastic. They have knocked it out of the park. Like even the quality, I'm only running on 720. Like let's bump it up to like 2K. Like that just looks fantastic. Absolutely well done. Amazing job.
The branding
In the whole
Looks really far.
It just looks absolutely amazing. Alright guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Obviously guys, this video has been helpful. Please smack that like button. I've got the hiccups now. Yeah, smack that like button if you're new to the channel. Welcome and subscribe. Apart from that guys, we'll see you in the next demonetized video from YouTube. Have a great night and enjoy.